it's Amethyst Virgo. I'm here with the video for, sorry, let me just situate this camera best of my ability. So this video is for understanding Aries energy, okay? So we're talking about the sun, the moon, rising, Mercury, Venus, and Mars. All right, I'm not touching on the other planets and planetary influences just yet. So Aries is ruled by Mars, very dominating planet. Mars is, you know, about action oriented, you know, things relating to, you know, drive and, you know, initiative and things of that nature. And it is a cardinal sign, okay, so the initiators, the leaders, and it is a fire sign, okay? So firstly, I want to start with the fact that it's the first sign of the zodiac. It's the first sign. So a lot of times, you know, in astrology, they're referred to as like the infant or the baby. And what I mean by that is, like, if you think of the symbolism of what that means, you know, a baby or an infant for the first time, they want to explore everything. They're not going to take your word for it. They just want to, this is life. Let me see what this is like. Let me go and let me do. And with some Aries, there's some innocence there. Now, some people can view that as not being strategic or not being careful, not being cautious. But to Aries, it's, this is life. I'm going to explore it. I want to see what it's like. I want to see what's out there. I don't want to be bound by structure. Okay, so especially when you think of like an infant, like that you tell them, or, you know, a baby or a toddler, and you're like, not to do that, they're still going to do it because they're like, well, I got to experience this for myself. Okay, so another thing with Aries though is like, this is a very like fearless sign, and with everything there's pros and cons. So some people view it as like, you know, being fearless is great in some aspects. In some aspects, you do need to think things through. You can't just always take a risk on something. But to Aries, it's more so like, let's just do this and see what happens. Now, this energy doesn't always vibe well with other signs who might view that as like, well, you're being reckless. You know, Aries also is a sign of self. I think I mentioned that before, but if I didn't, it's the sign of like, I want, or I am. So, you know, self-assertion is very important to an Aries energy person, okay? They want to do things on their own. They don't really like restrictions, because if you restrict an Aries person, if you, whether, now you can break it down further, but if you're restricting them physically or mentally or in any way, you're telling an Aries person, you're restricting them, they're going to buck against you. They're ruled by Mars. So though Aries can have like an innocence to them about how they go about life, some people might say, oh, it's kind of, you know, sometimes it's like you know, a little bit naive in some aspects. To some signs, they could view Aries as that way. You know, there's still this aggression that can be in Aries. You know, if you try to hold the Aries down, if you tell an Aries they can't do something, well, they're going to challenge you. So there can be some challenges there with Aries, like people. One thing that's really good about Aries sun, especially, is like, I feel like they're very transparent. And whether it's good or bad, you know, some signs you're not sure where they stand sometimes. Scorpio energy can be like that. What is underneath? What are you really up to? What do you really think? Virgo is like, I'm going to analyze everything before I even express anything to you. You know, Cancer, well, geez, Cancer, like, what's going on? Like, how do you feel about this? Cancer will be expressive, but Cancer is going to be cautious like Virgo. Okay, Cancer is going to can give a lot, but they have to feel secure and safe with you. Okay, but you know, they're not really scheming. Like, Aries is more so very transparent, whether you like it or not, whether you think they're arrogant, whether you think they are too dominating, whether you think they are just, you know, the best person ever, and they're enthusiastic and they're optimistic and they take charge when everybody else is worrying, everyone else is overthinking it, everybody else is in their feelings. Aries is like, well, let's just do this. Okay, and it's different. I'm doing another video about the fire signs, because Leo might do it for the shine and for the recognition. Sagittarius is going to do it for the experience, or to be able to maybe help others. Aries is like, let's just get this done. Aries is going to view other signs like, you're overthinking it, you're overfeeling it, right? Or, you know, they might view the earth signs as like, just do it. You're too practical. You're not thinking outside the box. All right. They don't like to complicate things. And some people, you know, again, like I said, it depends on your own energy, whether this Aries energy works for you. Aries doesn't like to complicate things, you know. I think an Aries can view someone like Aquarius or Virgo, even though Aries and Virgo can have complementary experiences, believe it or not. But like, for instance, let's say Aquarius. Aries can view Aquarius as like, you're complicating it. It's not that complicated. Why are you thinking so hard about it? Like, so there's a difference there. And Aquarius on the other side will think they aren't thinking hard enough about it. Okay. But you know, very free-spirited. You know, they could be entrepreneurs because, or business. They're not afraid to try something. They're not afraid to just do it. Okay. It's almost like the Nike's just do it is almost like that's the slogan for like an Aries person, you know. Next, Aries moon. Okay, so Aries moon people, the moon is how you feel in your internal self and your ability to process how you feel and your emotions. But Aries is a very external planet. I mean, not airplane, I'm sorry. Aries is a very external sign. So when you mix that with the moon, it's really not going to stay quiet. You know, even though the moon is known for that, like internal process, Aries moon people cannot release. Now, it depends on your placements, okay? It's very depending. Now, if you're moon in Aries in the 4th, 8th, or 12th house, you know, especially the 4th or 12th, you know, especially the 12th, maybe you internalize things more than other moon in Aries. But if you're a moon in Aries person, any other, you know, house, it's very possible that you're very responsive. You know, Aries moon person, a lot of them, they just have to respond. They're not going to just let you say something and get away with it. Like, they have to say something back. All right, they're going to have to say something. They're going to have to respond. They're going to have to, you know, address what you just did, address what you just said. There can be very opinionated people. Now, moon and Aries people are more opinionated when you're challenging them. I don't think this means the moon and Aries person is going to walk around all day long, you know, challenging you and saying, I'm right, you're wrong, unless you start coming for them. If you say something contrary to what the Aries person believes or thinks, that's when your moon and Aries person might buck against you a little bit, okay? Moon in Aries also is the first sign. It's the sign of self. Though I said in previous videos that Sagittarius is very, very optimistic, but at the same time can be very blunt and can be very like, you know, very, how do I say this? Some of the stuff they say, if they're mad, can be kind of hurtful or very, you know, mean or whatever you want to call it. And this is not hating on Sagittarius. I'm moon in Sagittarius, but moon in Aries, though, I think is less inhibited than Sagittarius. Even though Sagittarius can get to that point, you kind of usually have to do a lot. Because remember, Sagittarius already has an optimistic idea. Like, they you know, they're not always just going to be on guard. But they can get to that point, okay? Because, you know, more so than, okay, let me not go into Leo. But, Aries moon is less inhibited than Sagittarius, especially when you're challenging them. So just keep that in mind. Even though it's the moon is internal, it's emotions, a lot of people with Aries energy, period. If you have a lot of Aries energy in your chart, you're usually a very physical person. You like to do things. Now, if you're not like a person who works out a lot, or you're not athletic, you might be a person who likes hiking, or you like to like be pushing your body to the limit, okay? You have to exert that energy. Mars has that energy, and it's like Aries likes to do. They like to physically do things, okay? Aries, now let's move on to the rising. The rising, all right, so Aries rising. So your rising sign is your reputation, or it is how you come across to other people. It is, you know, it is important because it is basically, it's like the, you know, the way in which you move about life, because this is how people are viewing you or interpreting you, okay? And, you know, Aries rising, okay, so Aries rising people are the ascendant, you know, and it is important in other parts in your chart, so it's really important to know your rising or ascendant if you can figure it out. But let's just go basic. So restless. I mean, a lot of Aries rising people, they're restless. They always have to be doing something. Action, you know, they always have to be moving around a lot. They don't like staying in one place. They like to take action, okay? And you'll notice that this person doesn't like to stay in one place. Let's say you're out at you're somewhere with a person, right? And everybody's sitting around, and everybody's been sitting for a while, okay? And somebody's like, oh, can somebody help me? Now, you might think, oh, that person is so nice. They might be, but it's really they just want to get up and move. They just want to get up and move, okay? They can't stay, they don't like sitting still. Now, another rising might do it because they generally like to help. Cancer is going to do it because they like you and they want to help you and they bond with you. Virgo is just a sign of service and they want to help you in that way or something like that. So just remember, like, different signs, you know, have different reasons for doing things, okay? Aries rising person also, they may not, and the sun as well can do this, they may not like rules and structures. Sometimes these people might break the rules, which is why some Aries people can become successful, because they're not boxed in like some of us, you know. They're not, you know, sorry, I just had a Instagram notification. They're not boxed in like us. You know, they are entrepreneurial in some sense, because they're like, I want to do this. I know I can do it. Like, I don't need your approval. I don't need what you think. I don't need these feelings that you have. I'm just going to get this stuff done. Okay. Another way you can tell Aries rising person, some of them like tend to talk very loud. Okay. I don't know. And Mercury and Aries, some of them, but it depends on your, like I said, always say, you have to look at a person's whole chart to know what tendencies they really are more likely to have. But Aries rising people, they can be very dominant. They can be authoritative. They like to take charge. There's a lack of strategy though sometimes in an Aries rising person, or even Aries sun. Sometimes like they want to do things so much, but they don't stop and actually think and process these things. But they're good for tasks. You know, if you're like, you need something done physically, meaning like, hey, I need someone to move this over here. I need someone to help me set this tent up. Hey, I need somebody to go do this. Aries has that energy, like they want to do things, so you can tap into the energy of an Aries rising person or Aries sun person as well. Also about the Aries rising, sometimes they're not very observant. It's how you'll notice, like, they might miss some details. They might miss some things because they're so busy with the action part of it. But this is exactly why different zodiac signs should team up, because the thing that you miss, another sign will catch. Or, you know, that's why your birth chart, you aren't just your one sign. Now, if you are, you're probably not a very balanced person if like everything is Aries, 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 Aries. It usually doesn't happen. Though I do know some people who their chart, they're like all fire and one other element, like all fire and all air. No earth, no water. They're not really balanced in those other areas. All right. Another thing I want to say about the fire signs, and I'll do a video about all the fire signs together at some point. But this is Aries too. Aries has to watch. You can make money because you can do a lot of things. Aries doesn't usually tire, but there's a lack of structure, so that can affect money. All the signs can spend a lot of money, but I think fire signs have the tendency to spend more recklessly. Sagittarius spends money on experiences, so trips, cultural events, things like that. They tend to spend money on things that are purposeful to them, right? Leo spends money on, you know, what they have. They might like to dress nice. They might want a nice car. So they might spend more of their money on that because they want people to see how they shine. But Aries just can sometimes just spend money, okay? And they spend it in a way that it's like, I just wanted that. I just did it because, you know, this is what I wanted to do. So Aries does have to watch like money and how they what they do with their money. Now, hopefully you have other placements in your chart that balance out that need to spend money. All right, next let's move on to your Mercury and Aries. So Mercury is the mind. It is how you learn. It is how you communicate. So, you know, a Mercury and Aries person, they gain information in order to do something. So some signs do it and they internalize what they learn, or they do it to relate to other people. Mercury and Aries is really good at picking up on things so they can now do it. You know, they might be really good at like, okay, let me read these directions. All right, I'm going to put this together. I just know a lot of Aries people who I personally know who like are good at doing things. They're good at tasks. They're good at things, at putting things together. Whereas like I'm really not good at putting things, physical things together. I'm good with ideas, you know. I think I definitely have like the very Mercury, a lot of Mercury influences. Like I'm good with ideas, and I can put ideas on paper, and I can give good ideas and put something together. But as far as physically putting stuff together, I'm not good at that. I tend to not be good at that. But I think Aries people tend to have that low lock. Mercury Aries people, they have to speak their mind. All right, that doesn't mean all of them are aggressive or dominating, but some of them can be with their opinion. Remember, their opinion comes first. So unless they're bounced out by other placements, there can be a tendency to not always listen in order to connect, or listen in order to really, you know, see where another person is coming from. Okay, and you know, it can cause some Mercury and Aries people to not be as reflective. This does not mean that they can't be. You know, and I need to get all this right, because you know, I know my friend is going to come on this YouTube channel. She's an Aries in multiples. I think it's her sun, her moon, and her Venus. I'm not sure if there's anything else. She's gonna come and make a comment about what I say. But you know, I think the positive thing is that Mercury in Aries is open to new possibilities. They're open to new ways of doing things. They're not locked into, you know, this box like others might be. And let me be honest with you. Yes, it's great to think things through. It's great to analyze, but you need people who are able to look at a situation and say, we don't have time for that, Virgo. We don't have time for that, Gemini. You know, we don't have time for that, Aquarius. We got to do this right now, because if we wait, this is not going to happen. That's your Aries person. And when you combine Mercury in that, this is a person that, you know, they can draw on like, okay, so this is what we need to do. Great. Let's do it now. Okay. You know, they're really not, also what I like about Mercury in Aries, they're not transparent. I mean, they are transparent. They are transparent. They're not really as secretive as some other signs might be. Now, we all have a right to hold certain secrets if there are things that other people don't really need to know. But at the same time, it's like sometimes you get tired of trying to figure some people out and like, what is your motive? What are you up to? And sometimes you can feel that way with a Mercury and Scorpio person. Like, okay, why are you asking me this? What is underneath that? Aries can be very transparent. They're going to tell you what they think. They're going to tell you their opinion. And that can be helpful, and you know what this person stands for. You don't have to play the guessing game that sometimes you have to play with other signs. All right. Now let's move on to Venus in Aries. Okay, Venus is the planet of love, but it also is our values, possessions, and things of nature. But primarily, you know, we usually associate Venus with our love meter and how we express love, or what we want from love. So Venus in Aries person can be very optimistic when it comes to the you know, love. They fall hard, and they can't, like, they're active with it. A lot of them will contact the person a lot, or want to be around the person a lot, or, you know, really want to do a lot of things in order to get this person to like them, or get this person to notice them. To Venus in Aries, it's a very showy situation. This might be a person who's very into like touch or PDA, because it's a show to them. It's like, I like you, so I'm going to make you very important because I like you, you know. You know, and I think that's different than Venus in Scorpio. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars as well. Scorpio is also ruled by Pluto. But Scorpio, Venus and Scorpio person can have the same obsessive qualities as Aries, but they're not going to show it. So I think the positive thing with Venus and Aries is some people go like, well, they come on very strong. But you also kind of know where they are. You know where they stand. I think there are definitely other signs where it's like they're secretive, or they're scared, or they're cautious. And it's like, whoa, well, what do you want? You know, I think with Venus and Aries, it's very clear if this person is interested in you because they're going to show it. There is, you know, they're very fiery. And with Venus and Aries, it's all or nothing. If they feel that this is a connection and this is this burning love that they want, they're going to go all in. If it fizzles out, they're kind of not going to stick with it. They're not going to stick around as much to be like, okay, let's wait another 5 years. No, Venus and Aries is like, well, it burned out, bye. And it might come across as like, dang, like they're not worried about my feelings. But Aries is not really, they're concerned with the experience. They're concerned with, is this lighting my fire? And if it's not, I'm going to go. Another pitfall of Venus and Aries, though they're really good at being transparent, they also can rush into situations, some of them. And again, this depends on other placements. But they definitely can rush into how they feel about someone, rush into relationships or situations with people because they're not looking at the full detail. Whereas your Venus and Virgo person is going to be very sure of a person before they engage in like a relationship with them. Venus and Aries is like, I feel this. This is it. I like this person, so I'm going to trust I like this person. So there might be a need sometimes for some of them to be a little bit more selective, okay? Next, because sometimes after the fact they'll realize like, wow, I'm so consumed with this person, but this really wasn't the person for me. And Venus and Aries, some of them won't stay single for long. Now, it depends on the individual, but some of them won't stay single for long. Now let's move on lastly to Mars in Aries. So Mars is at home in Aries because Mars rules Aries. And so basically what that means is like here, this is the person who is able to put on a very, play a very big role in getting things done. And by things, I don't mean tasks. I don't mean like everyday tasks like Virgo. I mean like big things, events, projects, business. Like they're really good at taking that energy, that drive, and actually making something come to be. As I said before, a lot of Aries people can be really good at business or good with certain pursuits because they don't have that fear, and they can kind of channel all that energy and just put all that energy into getting something done. And Mars in Aries is really good at leaving behind any of the fears and the feelings and other you know, the things that they view as nonsensical. Mars in Aries gets things done. They don't need a lot of planning. So it's a very empowering, you know, sign if you have this placement, because you know, some signs need to plan. They need to think before they can perform. Mars in Aries doesn't need to do a lot of thinking before they can perform. They just do it. It just happens. You know, they put a lot of effort into it. Okay. You know, Mars in Aries is really good for people who are in any career which requires like long hours, or some type of, you know, situation where you have to actually get things done. You have to do things. Good with like even like getting other people to get things done, because Aries is not afraid to ask for what they need. They're not afraid. I need this. I need 5 people to work on this project. I need this. They're not afraid. Whereas there's some signs where they might consider other people's feelings a lot, and they consider, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just a different energy. All right. It can be aggressive though as well. Mars in Aries can be aggressive. So though Mars is also action oriented, Mars can be, you know, have, you know, very, I don't know the word I was trying to look for, but they can cause conflict. So let's take it a step further, a step down actually. Okay, so Mars in Aries is great for action and getting things done. It's a great planet for people who are probably not lazy. These people can do a lot with a little bit of time. You know, they tend to have a very, you know, very optimistic spirit of let's just do it. Great placement in some cases. However, Mars can also be how you interact with people. Remember, your placements for how you do things. Now you take it down to the level of your personal experiences with people. And what it can be is Mars in Aries can also be very, you know, argumentative. Mars in Aries can do things without taking other people into consideration. Mars in Aries can put themselves before others at times where there's a need for you to include other people. So I think that's one thing that Aries energy can expand on, is thinking of other people before you do things, because it's great that you have the drive and you have the direction and you know what you want and you have that, but you also have to realize there's other people usually involved in the fold, and you want to make sure that you're not, you know, alienating people because you're only focused on yourself. Okay, if you like this video, please hit the like button. Also be sure to subscribe to my channel if you're not already subscribed. Thank you.